Tonight is movie night with us. We are gonna be watching a really cool movie tonight with the kids, and we're gonna cook up dinner for everybody. I'm gonna drink, y'all, but I wanted y'all to join me while I'm making this tonight and show y'all a few things. So tonight what we're gonna make is the vegetarian fried chicken. We're gonna do some candy yams, sautéed greens, and some cornbread. I've already boiled and cut some candy yams right here. So they've already been boiled for just a few minutes just to get them slightly tender. You don't want them to be where they're super hard, but at the same time you don't want them extremely soft. So right there at the midpoint where they're not quite done yet. And as you can see, I did leave the skin on it. Potato skins is extremely good for you, packed with vitamins, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and start with my glaze that I'm adding to the sweet potatoes. So right now I have some butter already melted in my pot. This is about 4 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of brown sugar to this. I'm gonna add a cup of pure cane sugar, and if you guys can, try to always get pure cane sugar instead of the white bleach sugar. Pure cane sugar is just sugar from a sugar cane that's been ground up and put in a bag, so it's a lot more natural and better for you versus the bleach sugar that's extremely white. They add a chemical to that to make the sugar that white. Okay, so to this I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add some vanilla extract, probably about a tablespoon. I'm also gonna add a little bit of cinnamon powder, and that's probably about a half a teaspoon. I'm gonna add some ginger to this. Once it's all melted, I'm gonna pour that all over the sweet potatoes and pop them in the oven for just a few minutes, okay? Now also I'm gonna add just a dash of nutmeg. That's about a half a teaspoon. Mix all this up and pop it on the stove and let it warm up and cook down and melt real nice, and then we're gonna pour it all over the sweet potatoes, okay? See that? So I went ahead and I melted it on the stove. I did add a little splash, literally you guys, a splash of water to just thin it out a little bit so it'll pour nice and even over the sweet potatoes, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and just mix this. You see this, you guys? Just take your time and mix it really nice. And then you just pop it in the oven. I got a little glass top I'm gonna put over this. Just cover it up nice and easy and pop it in the oven and let it cook while you're working on everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the oven for about 20 minutes. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start on the jalapeno cheddar cornbread that I'm making. And you guys, this is so easy, super simple, and we're gonna make this from scratch. So this is not Jiffy. We're making this from scratch today, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, well, let's start here. Diced tomatoes, they're canned tomatoes. I just open the can, drain the water off of them, and I squeeze the tomatoes so it doesn't have any water or liquid inside of them. Because if they're not squeezed out and they have too much liquid in them, when you put them into your cornbread is gonna be a little wet and soppy, and we don't like that. So I'm just doing a rough chop. And you guys, you can just go get any kind, even the store brand tomatoes if you like, that's in a can, diced tomatoes. And you just drain them and chop them up just like that. Now I'm gonna slide that to the side, and then I am gonna do a fresh jalapeno. Now those who watched my shopping video, Let's Go Shopping, I talked about jalapenos. And with the jalapenos, what you wanna do is, for those who do not like seeds, the heat from the jalapenos, you can remove the seeds out of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the seeds out of this so that this won't be too hot for my little ones. So, and the only thing you're doing is just taking a knife or a spoon, and you can just rake these out or just pull them right out, just like that, okay? And then I'm gonna rinse them off, and just like this, see? And what's gonna happen is now, when I make the jalapeno cheddar cornbread, it's not gonna be super, super spicy. It's gonna have more of a smoky flavor to it, okay? And I think I will leave just a couple of seeds because Tony likes it kind of spicy. So I'm gonna leave just a couple of seeds in it so it'll have still that little kick on it, okay? And I'm gonna chop this up. Okay. And then we're just gonna add this into the batter. Now, let's talk about the batter. I got the pre-mixed self-rising cornmeal. Looks much like this. And I can show you the actual pack that I bought. You can actually buy it out your store, okay? And you're gonna take that, into that you're gonna add 1 cup of self-rising flour, okay? So I'm gonna add that in. And then I'm gonna also add in my cheddar cheese, okay? We're gonna add in the tomatoes. It really is, you guys, just as simple. It's just adding everything into the bowl, mixing it up, and then we're gonna transfer it into a baking dish, okay? Now, to this, I'm gonna add about a 1/2 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup of oil. And then we're also gonna go ahead and crack 4 eggs into this. Now I'm making a large amount because my family's pretty big, but if you want, you can do half the amount and it'll make it for about a family of 4. This I'm making for about a family of 7 to 8 people. So with the cornmeal, what I did was it's about 3 cups of the self-rising cornmeal and a cup of the self-rising flour. Okay, I'll go ahead and put the ingredients under, right above the video or under the video, depending on where you're watching this at. And that way you can kind of follow along and do, as I did on this video. So I'm mixing it all up now. And then I'm gonna add to this, y'all. I'm telling you, y'all, this is good. This is so good. I'm gonna add about 2 cups of buttermilk. Now, if you're doing this for a smaller family, you're gonna half this, okay? So instead of 2 cups, it'll be just 1 cup of buttermilk. But for my family, because we're a big family, I'm doing 2 cups. And you want it to be where your batter is quite, still a little lumpy. You don't want it where your batter is extremely smooth, because you're gonna push all the air out of your cornbread. So now I'm gonna add in the jalapenos, and then I'm gonna add just a few more of the tomatoes into this, okay? Okay, now that I got all this mixed up, I'm gonna take a greased cake pan or a baking pan, and you're gonna add in, just gonna pour in your batter, just like this. Okay, and just make sure it's nice and even in there. And that's it, y'all. Homemade cornbread with jalapeno cheddar and some tomatoes in it. And I'm gonna pop this in the oven real quick for about 30 minutes. All right, you guys, so I wanted to go ahead and check on the sweet potatoes to see how we're coming along. And y'all, they look so good. I wish y'all could smell these. I'm just kind of covering this and just making sure that everything's getting a little bit of the glaze on it. And I'm gonna pop this back in the oven for about 10 minutes uncovered, so the sauce can thicken up nicely on them. And then we should be ready with these. I think they should be done after that, so. Okay, so you guys, we've got the candy yams in the oven, the sauce uncovered on 350 degrees. We've got the sauce thickening up beautifully on it. I've also got the jalapeno cheddar cornbread in there now, and that's cooking and coming along beautifully. So while we're waiting for that to cook, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our vegetarian fried chicken, or some people call it fried cauliflower. Here to this bowl, I have 1 egg. I'm gonna go ahead and crack the other 2 eggs. So you're gonna do about 3 eggs to this to make the batter, or the egg wash. I'm gonna add just a splash of buttermilk to this and a splash of water to this, okay? And then I'm just gonna mix it. You need to mix this very well. Make sure your eggs are really good and blended into this. And just so you know, the more buttermilk you use, the harder and thicker your coat's gonna be on your crust. So even though you want a nice crispy crust on your vegetarian fried chicken, you don't want it too thick like a armor on it. You want it to be nice, light, flaky, and crunchy. So make sure you don't go overboard with the buttermilk, okay? Now I'm not gonna season my egg wash because I've already seasoned my cauliflower. I seasoned the cauliflower with salt, pepper, and a little bit of garlic, okay? So this is how it looks. You just cut up a cauliflower in nice big chunks, just like this. What you're seeing on here is the seasoning that I've already put on here. So I'm gonna take my cauliflower now, and I'm gonna add it to my flour. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and season my flour up because I did not season the egg wash. So you're gonna season the cauliflower a little bit, season the flour a little bit, not the egg wash, okay? So let me show you how I season the flour. This right here is a little bit of Cajun seasoning. You can find it on your international aisle. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan sea salt is real, Himalayan salt is really good for you. It has about 84 different minerals in it that that's really, really good for you. So if you can find some Himalayan pink salt, this is exactly how it looks, you guys. They have it in Walmart, Food Lion, all different kind of grocery stores. It shouldn't be a hard thing to find, okay? So I'm gonna add a little garlic to this. Garlic powder, not salt, garlic powder. A little cayenne. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of onion powder. I like adding a little bit of curry powder to it. It gives it just a really nice savory flavor. So I'm gonna just mix this all up. And this isn't for everyone, but I like to taste my flour before I start adding things to it, just to make sure it's seasoned enough. So I'm gonna give this just a little taste. And yes, it's perfect. I'm gonna take my cauliflower that's already been washed, cut up, and seasoned. Make sure you're washing your vegetables before you use them, you guys. So it's already been washed, chopped up into the chunks that I like. I like both big and small chunks. So I'm gonna add this just straight to the flour. This is not a difficult thing, y'all. It's super easy. So now that I've gotten this nice and coated, I'm gonna make sure I keep one hand for the most part dry and the other hand is gonna be used for dipping in the egg wash, okay? So now that we floured it, we're gonna go ahead and dip it in this egg wash. I'm gonna put about 6 pieces in here. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and coat them really nicely. Y'all, I'm sorry, I am country and my hands are clean. So I'm just gonna use my fingers here. And then you're just gonna take it and put it right back in the same flour, okay? No big deal. And as you can see, I'm keeping the other ones that have not been breaded yet or dipped in the egg wash separate. And you see I'm keeping this hand dry. That way when I'm going back and forth, this isn't clumping up on my hands and wasting flour. So I'm just gonna toss these just like this. Make sure you have the coating all over it, nice and even. And this is a good way to trick your kids too if you're trying to get them to eat some vegetables. Cauliflower is really good and you can trick them on this one, y'all, I promise you. So now I'm just gonna coat these really nicely. And then I'm gonna let them sit for about 1 minute just to let the flour kind of thicken up on it. And then we're gonna drop them in some oil and fry them up just like you would fry chicken, okay? This is not something you can walk away from though, you guys. So you're gonna have to really make sure you stick with it and stay right there by your pan. Y'all, look at this. Look at this. Tell me, if you didn't know any better, you wouldn't think that that is fried chicken tenders. Come on now. This is beautiful. Beautiful, y'all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let these cook up and finish cooking, and I'm gonna cook the rest of them as well. We'll come back and I'm gonna show you how we do the sauteed collard greens. Instead of boiling them, we're gonna saute them so we can get all the nutrients we can out of them. And we'll go ahead and plate everything up. But let me go ahead and finish getting everything cooked up with this cauliflower because I've got a whole big bowl of it. Okay, you guys, so this is the last batch. And we've got some that's already done over here. And we're just gonna add to that. You guys, look how beautiful that is. I mean, really, come on, look at that. That is good eating. And we're just gonna add these last few pieces to it, and I want y'all to hear something real quick. You guys, listen to this. You hear that coating on there? This is like straight hard coating, you guys. So I'm gonna finish taking out the rest of this, and then we're gonna do our sauteed greens, and then we'll be ready to eat. All right? We're gonna go ahead and get the collard greens, sauteed collard greens. In the South, a lot of times I see people boil their collard greens, and I mean, when I say boil, I mean they boil them. And then they lower them and let them simmer. Doing that, you're boiling all your nutrients out of your collard greens. All the vitamins and everything that was in the greens is now in the water, and you're not gonna sit and drink collard green water. So here I have a wok. I found this wok at Walmart for about $20–25 if you guys are interested in buying you one. And I have it pretty hot. It's set on 8. So what I'm gonna do is add a little oil. You can choose the oil you want, olive oil, peanut oil. This one I'm using avocado oil. It doesn't have any distinct taste or anything like that. It's just a really good oil for you. I'm gonna add some already cut collard greens. Just pound the bag of the cut collard greens. Because with my size family, you gotta get things done as fast as you can. Temperature on your stove needs to be up to about between 8 and 9. I currently have mine on 9. But while this is simmering, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of vegetable stock to this. And just for flavor, a little liquid smoke, garlic powder, little onion powder, red pepper flakes, just for a little kick. And I like to add a little bit of hot sauce to mine, just a little drop, just like that. And we're just gonna saute it. Okay. Now look at how pretty these greens are. You see how bright and green they are? These are really, really good for you this way. And just saute them until they're tender enough to eat. It's not a hard thing to do. Actually, it's easier to do in my opinion. So we're gonna just let these simmer for a couple of minutes and they should be ready. And after that, we'll go ahead and plate everything up so y'all can see how it all looks. Got the collard greens, the vegetarian fried chicken, candy yams, and corn, jalapeno cheddar cornbread, you guys. Look at this. Jasmine, get an overhead shot for me, please. Yes. Let me get into this first, y'all. I don't know which one to start with. Y'all see this? It looks just like chicken. And you can just dip it. I have some honey barbecue sauce right here. Look at how nice and green and beautiful these greens are. And I mean, I'm not taking nothing away from anybody else, but I just figure if you're gonna eat greens, let's eat them for real. Let's get the nutrients out of them. I'm gonna put the instructions and ingredients online with it. Let me know what y'all think. All right, y'all enjoy. Look up Chopping It Up with Tammy. Like my page, subscribe, please. Until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support, all of y'all kind comments and everything on Facebook. I really do appreciate it. But y'all have a good night. We're gonna go eat this food and watch this movie tonight. Bye.